Hey guys, welcome to a new series that I'm starting called Finding the Perfect Area for You. Really putting the emphasis on you here because it's all about what you find comfortable. The way I'm probably going to do this is to break up this series into multiple parts, maybe around the 5-minute mark for each part, and I aim to try and cover as many examples and suggestions as possible. This series is aimed at people who have barely started with tablet, and basically anyone who's on the newer side in terms of tablet experience. I'm going to first talk about grip in this video. If you came here to find the perfect area for you because you know what grip you're comfortable with, by all means go to the next part of this series. For all you new users, tune in as I go on to talk about pretty much everything you need to know about grips. So first off, why did I start with grip? Because your grip can very heavily influence what kind of area you'll be using, so it's great to start with that. There are many different types of grip used by many different types of top players, and there are formal names for them, but you don't need to know about the names, just the general idea. Grips don't really have advantages and disadvantages, it's just a matter of how accustomed you are to the grip. Maybe you can argue a few small things about grips that make them better or worse, but just choose something that you're comfortable with, as that's the factor that will help you the most. As you can see, there's a huge variety of grips being used by top players. Don't feel like copying a certain grip just because you see it from, I don't know, WhiteCat, just because he has great aim for example. You must choose something that's comfortable for you. So enough with the introduction, and let's give you some ideas with some examples of which top players use which grip. So really, the best grip of all time is the fist grip.
It's time to cue that epic outro.
I would recommend trying out the grips. Pause the video if you have to, as I walk through the different types of pen holds. You could try and get a sense of how your aim could be like in the beginning, you know, drawing circles, drawing squares, if you can aim where you want to aim, and whether it's, I don't know, instinctively comfortable, and if it is, then it could be a good start. I'm not going to be explaining why a certain grip is good or bad. As I've said before, it's hard to argue what's really optimal. This video is just going to showcase a number of grips and give you some ideas, so it's up to you to try them out and see what's comfortable for you. If you are completely new to tablet, then I can guess you've tried or started off with your usual pencil grip. It could be comfortable at first, but I guarantee it's going to hurt a lot with your fingers that low down on the pen, so you could adapt to it by holding it higher, or higher than that, or higher than that. And suddenly you have 3 more grips to choose from just from one type of hold. And in this case, I have more of a dynamic tripod. That's just how I hold my pen naturally. How do you guys hold your pen? You can let me know in the comments down below. My pen hold is quite similar to RyuK's, except he holds it higher than I do. In very basic terms, a dynamic tripod is where your index finger, middle finger, and thumb come together to grip the pen, hence the word tripod. This grip is best suited for a playstyle where how do I word this? Where you want your pen to point towards the side of the tablet. If you don't understand what I mean, then I think the next example will help. If you have your thumb moved higher, then it becomes more of a lateral tripod. This relies more on the pen resting against your middle finger. Umbre is a top player who uses this type of grip. Now with this grip, you are able to play in a way that your pen points towards the top of the tablet, because the thumb can give more support for this playstyle. But that's not to say that you have to use a lateral tripod grip to point the pen upwards. You can do it with the dynamic one as well, it's really up to you. These two grips, the dynamic tripod and lateral tripod, are probably the most standard types of grip that are used. The other 2 common types of pen grip are the dynamic quadrupod and the lateral quadrupod. Wow, I feel like a fucking scientist reading this out. Jesus. The dynamic quadrupod is literally the dynamic tripod, but with your ring finger coming in for support. Therefore, you're using 4 fingers, and that's where the word quad comes from. Amazing. Similarly, for the lateral tripod, its 4-fingered alternative is the lateral quadrupod, where the pen rests mainly on your ring finger, whilst the other 3 grip the pen. Now I don't actually know of any top players doing this off the top of my head. I'm sure there are quite a few though. Maybe a dying question for some of you guys. What grip does the best player, arguably, right now use? WhiteCat uses a thumb grasp grip as shown here. Now obviously I'm right-handed, so you're going to see it from a different point of view. But the idea is that, although similar to the lateral tripod grip, the difference is that instead of the tip of the thumb resting on the pen, the entire thumb wraps around the pen. And in WhiteCat's variation, his index fingertip goes on the pen and the middle finger goes under it. This basically means that the thumb has less impact on the movement of the pen but firmly holds the pen in a consistent angle with the pen facing towards the side of the tablet. And now I'll cover some fairly uncommon or strange grips that are used by top players that still work out for them, simply because they're comfortable with it. The reason why I'm showing you these ones is really just to prove that the grip you choose will not limit your aim, as long as you're comfortable with it. So let's get straight into our first uncommon grip, and here we have the 5-finger grasp, which is a grip that heheheh uses. If you don't know who that is, heheheh was rank 1 from around mid 2015 to mid 2016, so he's a top player. In his variation, the pen rests against his pinky finger, and most of the support comes from his ring and middle finger, with stability from the thumb and index finger. With this grip, he decides that pointing the pen at the center of the tablet is what's most comfortable, but of course you can point it towards the top or to the side, it's entirely your choice. Flying Tuna uses some variation of the lateral tripod or thumb grasp grip. I don't know which his grip is closer to, but his pen rests on the middle of his middle finger. Or if we're gonna use the big boy names, then the pen rests on his intermediate phalange or phalanx of his middle finger. It just goes to show that there are many different variations of like every grip that ever exists, so obviously I can't just cover them all. The final grip that I'll be showcasing is Freddie Benson's grip, and I have no idea what to call this monstrosity, but I'll try and explain it as best as I can. It's probably the closest to a thumb grasp grip, but like extremely low down and held at an unholy angle. It points towards the bottom of the tablet. I mean, I can't really complain because Freddie Benson was rank 1 at one point and is a top player, so as long as it's comfortable then anything can work out. I think now is a great time for a conclusion, so we can pack up and move on to finding the perfect area. I've shown you quite a number of different types of grips here, with as many examples as I can think of off the top of my head. If I've missed any, you can let me know down in the comments below. Grip is completely preference, and to find out what is most comfortable, have a go at trying them yourself. You know, draw some squares, draw some circles, draw some other shapes, and just try to instinctively understand, you know, asking yourself questions like, you know, realistically, am I comfortable with this? Can I get used to this? Can I feel like I'm pointing in the place that I want to aim at? These are the kinds of questions that you should be asking yourself to really know if the grip is good enough for you. Alright, that's enough talking for this part in the series. The next video is going to be about finding your area. Hopefully I'll see you there. See you in a bit.